the kids want this kind of stuff. They want to be able to like breathe right, and they want to be able to like reconnect with their emotions and reconnect with how they're feeling. They just don't know how to express it yet. We start like day one. And I essentially am like, hey guys, the way we're going to be starting class every day, they always come in, they have like a 5-minute warm up on the board, usually what we're doing in class, right? Get their brains prepped as they kind of trickle in. And at the 5-minute mark, I have a timer, it goes off, we move into our mindful minute. And it's about 60 to 90 seconds usually, but it's just a time for students to be able to turn off everything around them, to tune inward, and follow any prompts or questions that I'm asking them to reflect on. And at the end of the mindful minute, they do a check-in. And so the way this looks is like physically in the classroom is when we go into mindful minute mode, I turn off all the lights in my classroom. I have like string lights, so there's some like ambiance. But I turn off the lights, they put their heads down on their desks, they close their eyes. If a student's not comfortable closing their eyes for whatever reason, I have them just stare at the floor. And throughout the next minute, I'm kind of guiding a few different things. First, from my yoga background, I'm trying to guide them to relax their bodies, slow their breath, like open up their breath. They might be maybe not breathing fully. We do kind of a body scan to just like relax into their seat and ground themselves. And then I usually move into a reflection question. Sometimes the reflection question has to do with our content. But usually it's more like, what emotions have come up for you today? I just want in your head, I want you to name a few of those emotions, or reflect on the type of student you want to be today. Like show up, how are you going to show up as that student today? And it's all silent. They're just thinking through these questions that I'm asking. And then at the end of the mindful minute, their heads are still down. I go on a scale of 1 to 5. How are you feeling today? And they hold up a number, just all anonymous because their heads are still down. And students are really honest. They'll tell you if they're not feeling good today. I get some zeros sometimes, right? And on the other end, I get a lot of 5s as well. And this is just, you scan the room. And again, it takes 60 to 90 seconds to do all of that. And it's just a really easy way to be like, what's the temperature check? What's the pulse of the room when they're walking in? Because we all know, like, we all carry the baggage around with us all day. So it's just a really easy way for me to check in with students and for them to check in with themselves, which I think is even more important. But then if you notice a student is holding up like a 1 multiple days in a row, that's like a mental note of like, I need to check in with that kid. In order to start, I mean, easiest cop out, I say cop out, but not in a negative way. Cop out way is you YouTube 1-minute mindfulness video on YouTube, you throw it up on the board, you have it be silent and kids just follow along. So there's so many free resources that are there, but for teachers who want to be leading it, start with the simple questions, right? The head goes down, ask them, what emotions have come up for you today? Or if your emotions were a landscape, like what would that look like? Or if your emotions were weather today, are you sunny? Are you rainy? Are you a storm, right? Kind of just those like basic check-in questions. Usually at the end of each semester, I do like a teacher feedback form and just about all of the things that we do. But like they get kind of like a free form at the bottom of like what stood out to you, blah, blah, blah. And like 50% of the time, if not more, every kid's writing about like, thank you for checking in with us. Like, this is so powerful. I've had students like write me notes about realizing that they wanted to ask their parents to go to therapy, like really like in like cool, intense moments, but like kids really being like, oh, I'm actually checking in with myself, and turns out like, here's what I'm learning. And now that I've learned this about myself, what are my next steps? Overall, I just see a dramatic shift in our community in our classroom. And if issues do come up, we have that emotional intelligence to like meet it at eye level and like de-escalate from there. And so it's goes beyond just the minute itself, but it has become part of like a classroom culture, which is really cool.